Nobody asked, but I feel like I'm in a position to tell you why hairstylists charge so much, so I'm going to do that. I really should have washed my hair today. So for context, I own a salon. I've been in business for 10 years. I've been a stylist for like 17 or something. It's gonna have a lot of math in it, but I'm not gonna expect you to remember it. I'm gonna pop it up on screen here. About 10-15 years ago, if a stylist wanted to make $40,000 a year, they needed to do about $55 an hour in service. And that's based on a 36-hour work week, 50 weeks a year, and a 40% commission split. And I'm not gonna debate commission splits because that is a whole separate topic. So that $55 an hour does not account for any breaks. It doesn't account for peeing. It doesn't count for lunch. It doesn't count for anything that is 36 hours straight all week of working, which is about $53,000 a year today, adjusted for inflation. And no one's getting rich on $53,000 a year. Back then you could get your hair done for about $100, but in order for a hairstylist to make a decent living, we started double booking. That means while your color was processing, we were doing another color and flippity flop. By doing that, we were able to take our hourly rate to about like $80 an hour, and that's with like a 70% productivity rate. So that means 70% of our work day was spent physically applying color, cutting, blow drying, whatever. But the thing is, if you're old enough, you remember that highlighting jobs back then were a lot different. We could get it done in an hour and a half, so we could charge $82 for it based on that $55 an hour, add a haircut on, you're at about a $100 ticket. The thing is, technique has changed since then. Like back then, we were taught to just fry somebody's hair off until it was blonde enough, and if it wasn't blonde enough, go ahead and put all over color over the entire head to cover it. Average highlighting service, we cannot do it in an hour and a half. We're talking about probably 3 hours, and we couldn't double book anymore because of all the extra processes that we were doing so that your hair looked better. It would have given, and it did for a while, really shitty client experiences to double book. Because we have the root blends that we would have to stop and rinse. We'd have the toner we'd have to stop and rinse. Because those don't process for as long as it takes to apply a color. So we adjusted. We stopped double booking, and that meant in order to keep our work-life balance, or our work-work balance, in order to keep our breaks, we had to bump our hourly rate up to that $80 an hour we talked about earlier. Just to put it in perspective a little bit, $80 in 2014 is the equivalent to about $106 today. And that is why your highlights are so much more expensive. And just for the record, that $106 is not going to a stylist, it is going to the business. I do not care if you booth rent or if your stylist is in a suite, they still have a business to run. I know it feels greedy. I promise you the majority of stylists care more about the quality and the time we put into your hair, and we have to adapt to the times too. And listen, if you don't want to spend $300 on your hair, most stylists, at least the ones I know, are not going to judge you. We do not care. We want to find something that fits in your budget while also respecting our time and our prices. Because ultimately we want to work together. $55 an hour for a master stylist just is not reasonable. I hope you learned something.